So now that we're into highlights, let's talk about creating and using groups in highlights. I bet you use groups in your classroom in a lot of different ways, like differentiating, personalization. You have research group if students have chosen a project or a topic, peer-to-peer learning opportunities or group work. You have reading groups. You might do stations or a workshop. And you can even use groups for ELL learners, and you can group any students who might have an IEP accommodation. So grouping learners is a great teaching strategy, but how in the world do you group learners in a digital learning environment? The ability to group learners in highlights provides you with a lot of support when it comes to differentiated instruction, learning accommodations, and class projects or group work. You can use groups and highlights to target your online instruction in a variety of ways. So I like talking about groups first because once you've created your groups, you can then use other features like share links, send messages, and guide browsing, all with specific groups that you've created. And you can do things like filter and sort your highlight screen to see the groups you want to focus on one at a time. So let's create a group and let's see how this looks. So over here, you're going to click on the groups in the upper right hand part of your screen. And I've already created some groups. I even have a read aloud group for students that I know need read aloud accommodations. I have a reading group A, reading group B, reading group C, and I have a watch list for students who tend to be distracted with online learning. So I want to create a new group. So I'm going to select new group from the drop down. And a pop-up will appear with your new group. I'm going to highlight the name because I don't want to call it group 6, but I have students working. We're actually doing a project on the Roaring 20s, and I have students who are focusing on the art of the Roaring 20s. So I'm going to name this group Art. Art of the Roaring 20s. And then I'm going to select Add because I want to add that group. Now I can also select what students, and I can assign learners to this group. So I can either tick all students if I want all students in that group, but I know there's only certain students who are researching and doing a project on the art of the Roaring 20s. So now I can select the students, tick the boxes next to each learner's name that I want to assign to this group. So I'm going to assign, I know Amelia Earhart's doing it, I know Frederick Douglass is, and Rosa Parks. So those 3 students are working on this project. And at the bottom, I'm going to click Add Students button. So now those students are added to that group. Now I can also change the color, the default color. So it defaults to this pink, but maybe I want to change it to a different color. So I can click on any color I want. Maybe I want to change it to a hot pink. And then my students have already added. I can also remove them if I want to make any changes. And I'm just going to go back. And now I can see my Art of Roaring 20s group has been created. And I have my 3 students in it. I have 4 students in my Read Aloud, 2 students in my Reading Group A, and etc. So what if you want to change group names? So if I want to change a group name, I can select on my groups again. I'm going to click on Edit Groups, and then it will allow me to change any group name. Groups are really great in highlights because you can change them and edit them really quickly. You can have different groups each day if you're doing a station or workshop model in your classroom. So they're easy to edit and change on the fly even, or every day. So if I want to change that group, I can hit the little pencil icon next to the group name, and it's going to allow me to have that opportunity to change it. I can also change a group color just by clicking on that edit pencil. I can then select a different color if I want to select a different group. If I want to select a different group color, I can also add or remove learners very easily by clicking on that pencil icon again. I can edit and remove maybe Rosa Parks isn't in there anymore and I can remove her very easily. Or I could also add maybe additional students. So maybe Thomas Edison is now in that group and I can add him to that group. So it's really easy to add and remove learners from groups. And I can also delete a group. So after the Art of the Roaring Twenties project is done, I can hit the trash can icon next to the name of that group, and I can delete that group, and that group is automatically deleted really quickly. You can also see under or above each student tile, you'll see the colors of the groups. Students don't see that, only teachers will see that. But I can hover over Abraham Lincoln. I can see he's on my watch list group. He tends to watch cat videos. So he's someone that I watch and try to work with every single day, just being less distracted. He's also in my reading group A. Amelia Earhart, she's in my watch list. She's in group A, but she's also doing that research project on the Roaring Twenties. So you can see what group all these students are in. Another great thing about groups is you can also change the group really easily from a learner's student tile. So if I want Amelia Earhart, I'm going to click on the 3 dots. That is going to give me a drop down. And I have this option to edit groups. So I can edit a single learner's group. So I'm going to select edit group. And then you will see that the groups that are assigned to Amelia Earhart will pop up over on the side here. So I can see she's in my Roaring Twenties, she's in my reading group A, and she's on my watch list. Well, I'm going to remove her from the Art of the Roaring Twenties, and I can just untick that box, and she is then removed, and then I can save.